I'm a complete believer that equities are a wonder class asset, that they are just incredible. You're tapping into human ingenuity, and all of the data shows us that that's what drives returns and builds wealth over time. Equities, owning small bits of companies of the great companies in the world. To the same extent, just going over some of the data here. So this is the MSCI World bear markets, where the market basically falls back 20% or more. What are you laughing at?
Just like, they're so good, but let's look at all the shit periods.
100%, yeah. And my key thing is it's been a while since we've had like a sustained bear market. The last one was 9 months. Then before was 1 month, and then it
quick recoveries.
Really quick recoveries, yeah. And it goes back to 2003 since we had a long one, which was 31 months. And then before that, you're getting all the way back into the 70s, which was 21 months, but a 46% decline on the MSCI World, which is seriously painful. But the reason why I think it's important to mention that is that it's just about, if you know what you're dealing with, then you can adapt to it. It's when you don't know. And my concern is that there's a ton of new investors who, frankly, we might not have been through a substantial, prolonged decline. And I think if we can prepare for it, if we can be aware of it, we're going to be so much better placed to adapt and to beat it, basically.
There's a lot of people, ourselves included, that have never lived through, years of stagnation or decline in key markets like America. Like we lived through the early 2000s, but we weren't actively participating in the market in a meaningful sense. All I've ever really known as an investor is American dominance, America recovering quickly, and maybe they will. But yeah, like you say, the COVID bubble, like buy the dip is a slogan that's born out of recoveries that bear markets last a couple of months, isn't it? Would people still be singing that at the top of their voices if it had been 3 years?
And my concern is, especially in this environment for the next one, is that there's one big thing that has changed since those times, which is everyone has all the information in their pocket all the time. And that's the thing, because what it's like, even like we're experiencing a slight bit of volatility. It's ever present, isn't it? The minute you turn on your phone, you're getting so many notifications.
The speed at which you can act on the info as well. So you can sell your whole portfolio on your toilet while you're in a second. Yeah. In the past, you'd have had to have called a broker who would have probably tried to talk you down in the moment. You'd have had to have engaged with you'd had to stumble across a newspaper or turn the TV on. Now, like you say, it's forced to you through your feeds. You can switch to another app and sell everything in a split second.
Exactly.
Whilst you're still emotional.
Is it good? Like I'm a big fan of buying the dip. Is it good to buy more? Or, if you're in your retirement, you just wait it out, and because you can see the big returns when the market is down. So what do you normally advise your clients to do when there's a downturn, if they're comfortable?
Yeah, sure. So if they're in the accumulation stage, then I'm absolutely encouraging them to, if you think about the markets, it's one of the only things where the sale's on and we run out the store. It's really is crazy that we don't take advantage of that. And especially for someone who's accumulating, this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to build wealth. The problem is in retirement is you might not have that income. So, the definition of retirement for many is I've stopped work. So you don't have extra money to put into the markets, basically. And also as well is that the difference from a psychological standpoint in retirement, and which is why I think it is really the time where an advisor adds a lot of value, is that there's no two ways about it. If you're someone who's worked for decades and then you've kind of stopped working, you've not only got more time to be very aware of the market conditions, but also you're thinking, I don't have more, I don't have the comfort of my earnings. So you really do need that, you need a strategy, whichever way it comes in. And what we do with clients is that when we build their financial plans, we go, okay, this is normal market conditions, this is what we expect, but here's also 5 stress tests. And I want to do that, and I want to show you the stress tests, because I want to tell you that when this happens, not an if, when this happens, I want you to know it's going to be okay, because we've already factored in a significant decline. But there are things we can do, like maybe make some adjustments to your expenditure, because sometimes just having that kind of plan about what happens when things don't go to plan can stop you from losing sight and ruining a perfectly good multi-decade plan over some events, basically.
What are some of these stress tests? That sounds really useful.
Yeah. So we look at, the company I work for, Flying Colours Advice, so we look at a mixture. We look at a significant market drop based on what level of risk they're taking. So, if we have a look at, for example, 100% equity portfolio would be appropriate to a significant market drop. We also then look at more sustained lower growth rates. We look at a stress test if one person dies early. That's actually a stress test not many people think about. If you lose one person's state pension, maybe they might have to find benefit schemes where it drops from a full pension to a spousal provision. That can make a really big difference. We look at sustained higher inflation. That's the one that actually always tends to catch people out. So what happens if inflation was just much longer over time?
Even like 3-4% rather than 2% is huge, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's massive. Low growth rate, something I've said. And then also we'll look at care as well, which is a really difficult one. Now, unless you're exceptionally wealthy, one of those is probably going to flag. So we kind of put all traffic light things on, being like, this is going to 100, you're fine. This is running out after your normal life expectancy, but earlier than 100. And this one's running out before normal life expectancy. And kind of that's like a red flag. But it's not necessarily about a case of if things go really bad, we should completely, if things go really bad, you can't retire. It's a case of, okay, what are the mitigations there? What other things can we do? Because there are always other levers to pull. And one of the big ones might be, okay, well, we're using your target expenditure, we're using your aspirational expenditure. If you just drop down a grand or so, or a couple of grand a year, you're going to be fine. There are also others, like, for example, some people plan to downsize, some people plan to equity release. We could also then use that to spark a conversation about annuities if somebody wants that additional security. So it's always kind of a guide to make those strategic decisions.
That was a clip from our chat with George Agan, financial advisor. To watch the whole thing, click right here. What are you doing? What did you do? What did you do? What did you do?
Smiled. Everyone laughed at me.